would be willing to lie that they blew 21 million.
Yes.
Bangakaze baba ne 10,000.
Exactly.
So that they can be on the show
and
generate the money for teaching, because it's teaching. You know, and like you say, how do we take it?
Yes.
Do we look at the show to look at the t-shirt, or we listen to the message, hey son, look, we were not there when you child this money, but you are sitting with your son as you watch this thing.
Yeah.
This is a moment for you to tap on the shoulder and say, if our mamel, he still has an opportunity through this show to tell us, to teach you the small ones, that it can be avoided. Not open a can of beer as you watch this thing and you say, but you are watching still. But this man is listening to you. This man develops fear of not wanting to be like the man on the screen. Because somebody like you, the idiotic father or petit Pia, speaking nonsense, is speaking like this. You are instilling fear in this small boy. He doesn't want to play football because he's scared there's some father that will speak like his father is speaking about other people while they watch the show. Correct. So what we say to our children goes a very, very long way. And you are surprised 4 years later your kid is a thug or is a drug addict. No. You led him that direction.
Correct.
You don't speak life. You are negative. You are sad, but most importantly, you are scared. You've never left your comfort zone, and your comfort zone is that fear. That fear space. You're going, I've never been anything. I don't want to be anything. I don't want to be laughed at. I want to laugh at people. And that's it. It's not fair. People need to open up. People need to explore the avenues that the Lord gives us. All of us.
Dreams Made Possible. We are all about Life 101 conversations for a great life. And this time around, it's no different. We continue on our quest to educate and to share knowledge. And the best way we're going to do it is through sports and the sportsmen that are entertaining us and helping us to kill the time. But it is not only about killing the time, it's also about who the person is who we regard as sportsmen and those people that we see on our televisions on a daily basis. But before we go any further, we grow because of you. We cannot do it alone. And it really warms our heart if you go down and click on the link to subscribe so that we can continue to grow a community of dreamers. And today I'm excited because the person that we have on our platform today is going to share his life story. And as we always say, a story that another person shares is not your story. But out of his or her story, you can craft the journey that is going to change your life and the lives of other people. And the guest that we have today is going to tell us more about himself. But he is a former Orlando Pirates player, Jomo Cosmos player, City Pillars, and other teams that he played for. And he is here to talk about himself because we are not reading his obituary. He is not going anywhere anytime soon. Joman, how's it? Sharp, umfethu. Are ring. And understand this man called Gerald Modabi. But before we go into the conversation, let us be appreciative. Gratitude is quite important. To have you on this platform and for you to share your story, it means a lot to us.
Yeah, well, I'll extend the gratitude as well right back by saying thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure being hosted in a beautiful house like this. And it also augurs well with the line you're pushing of dreamers.
Yes.
I wish people were in this space right now, then they can continue dreaming, especially the ones that come from the same background as me, Kasi, and that actually still live there, to know Guti, and you can turn it into anything you want. And this is where we are right now. And thank you for having me.
No, great, in fact, I really, really appreciate with that. And we are going to get into the journey to understand you. And the reason why I say to understand you, probably I will say most people understand what you do or what you used to do, but they do not understand you. And that is very, very important, that people should not put what they do in front of who the person is. And how do we get into that story? Maybe I'll how was it growing up? Where did you grow up? If you are free to get even into your family to say, and and how was it growing in that household?
Yeah. I don't think anyone has ever understood me or even understood what I do, because at some point I also didn't understand what I do.
Okay.
There are so many things that I wanted out of life. I remember on top of that list was being a psychologist, a child psychologist, something which was unheard of at the time. But because I felt if people knew a child psychologist, first I would need to spell a psychologist. In our PSY, I'll just say I want to be a doctor, because I don't understand that. But yes. Doctor, I also obviously deep down didn't want anything to do with blood. Even Namaj, I'm squeamish. I don't like confrontation. I don't like conflict. I don't like a situation as a grounding where a kid has to jump with another kid for a challenge, and then they must headbutt because it's a and I'm not very big on that space. I'm a person that just doesn't like violence. So I kept it at the doctor line. But deep down, I was a child psychologist. So hence, no one has really ever understood because no one has ever taken time to listen to what I want. I've always been told what I need to do, when it needs to be done, but I've never been told why it has to be done.
Yes.
So I kept following on that trail. But so ngo-4 kumele ngiye ejimini ngoba ucoach uthi sijima ngo-4. So it was a big problem for me ukuthi I had to grow at the back of regulations anjalo, which I did not understand because I'm a defiant person. To get to the understanding part, abantu have never understood me. I'm not disrespectful. I just am a person that wants to know, most importantly, the why.
Yeah. So if you say nobody has understood you, if you can get the opportunity to help somebody understand who you are and what you want in life, what would you say?
I wanted to sing at some point, but I had a horrible voice for music, I think. It's good for the shower, definitely. I definitely wanted to be a soccer star. But no one understands why I wanted to be a soccer star. Exactly. Back to your first question, which I took long to get to, the C6. 7. So it means in a family of 7, I was the last. I lost a brother in 1988 who apparently was very, very good with football, Umzamo. He was the second in a line of brothers about 3. So boys were 4, me being the last, and then I've got 3 sisters in between. So my last born, I'm my last born are spoiled because I've had to hustle for a lot of things. I've had to hustle for my own boots when I started playing football. And that is why people never understood me. It was because later on when I grew up, then everyone had a lot to say about the kind of person they thought I was and what I do. But no one really understood. All I wanted was to change the complexion of my environment, not to sit here and lie and say, no, like any other black boy, I grew up in poverty. No, it was okay. It was okay. We could sleep, we went to a school. Whether decent today will be Model C compared to township. No, I went to a township school, but it was okay. It was decent. I went every day. Yes, of course, I didn't want to go most times, but I had to. It was regulated. But I wanted to be a soccer star. ngichisimo sasedladle, not as financial, but ngifila ngathi my sisters wanted to go to school. Out of the 3 sisters I had, there was one about to give, and she was so desperate to be an A student, and I thought I could do something. Yes, I eventually went on and helped her with other things financially, but not took her to varsity because she ended up giving up. So now I ended up not realizing the dream yokuthi edladleni kube na somebody at least ophelela varsity. And to date, we are still waiting for the next generation, whether it's my sister's kids or my own who is doing matric, to hit the varsity levels. So I hope it happens.
Yeah. No, that's great, and thanks for sharing that experience and the fact of sharing the relationship with your siblings. And going back to what you said, Jomo, about psychology, we'll get into it because I think the work that you are doing now, sharing your story, has got a soothing effect, it has got a calming effect, it has got an educational effect, and there's a psychology behind it. And probably you're doing that work in an indirect way, maybe not through you having a practice and having gone through that particular problem. Because you mentioned about wanting to change lives, and that's part of the journey. Now, when we go back to how you grew up, you wanting to become a psychologist, and you knew at some point, Jorge, you wanted to be a soccer player. Number one, how and when did you realize that you've got a talent as a soccer player? And secondly, how were you introduced to football? And I'm not saying here about professional football, just football itself.
My big brother had a soccer club called Young Destroyers. So that meant I didn't have a place to sleep on my Fridays because they would all have to assemble to camp for matches. But for me, it didn't matter. Even if I was made to sleep in my dad's old Valiant, I would have freely done so. There are players that were good playing for my brother's club. It was a big club in the township. They were winning tournaments, and just the opportunity to rub shoulders with those guys meant the world to me. So eventually, because I was always part of the traveling party to matches, whether they are going to Spokane, whether they are going to Zakani, wherever they were going, I'd be part of the traveling team. And to a point, because the press at the time, I'm a chairman. They were owning a club, and they ended up calling me that because I was part of the furniture. And I all of a sudden was made the honorary chairman at the little age of 6. To a point where one day their B team ended up leading, I think 10-0 or something. And they decided to why not? Let's give him his debut because we see him playing in the streets. And I think when the score was about 12 coming on, I must have played. I don't have a proper recollection of the minutes I played until the moment I scored the goal. And I added on to the score, it was 13. And I scored my first goal at 6 years playing for a B team. And it was big. It was a big thing. My dad, who was very strict, slaughtered a chicken a day later to celebrate the goal. And the man had never, ever given me a cent in his life. He gave me 1 rand. And that was the biggest I'd had at the time because I was not big and you win. It was introduced to me as something, a bad that you are not supposed to have as in Ghana. So if you came to me, we out here cooler, and you showed me a note there to rand, you know I'm going to tell my dad, the outlay is in a Mali paper. And the Mali paper, we Mali. So my dad would have to go to your house, but find out how do you have a Mali paper? And they tell me immediately right there, now. So that is how I was introduced to football, and the incentives or the motivation that comes with playing football. The first was never money. It was a chicken.
Yes.
That was slaughtered. And then money was the thing that followed after the chicken. So that is why each and every club I later played on as a professional, I was never involved in debacles where there were bonus fights. The bonus structure is wrong. I was just grateful. I'm part of a professional setup, and I'm getting paid at the end of the month for it. Of course, it didn't sit well with the rest of the squad. For a talkative person that I am, I would not want to get involved in money issues. But when we are older, we don't realize ukuthi yonke into inesiqalo. You don't wake up one day, you are 19, you are a professional. You are 6, as I'm telling my story now. You are not taught money, and then you understand money later. Well, of course, without the necessary education that comes with it. That's why things end up going haywire later on. But it's not the end all and be all of what professional football was about for me. I wanted to play to have fun. I wanted to play to realize this talent that God had given me. And then he extended it by making me play professional.
No, great. And on that note, we'll get into the money aspect because I think it's also quite important, just from an understanding and what we also know some of the soccer players go through. Now that you're talking of professional soccer, how were you introduced to professional soccer?
I think it was sculptured in the professional, because I remember it's sad, it's very unfortunate that today I'm 41, and I remember at some point I was 11 and staying with a coach called Paradise Markets, and Slali Garage yakhe Thrift ePimville. And everything I learned about being a man, good and bad, I learned from the man, because the bad you start realizing much later when you have your first encounter with physical exchange with the woman. Uguchi, no man, this confrontation about physical, I kalanga today. Ngayibona kuphi? And then you remember, oh, ngayibona ngisakhula somewhere. And then you start thinking, oh, at the time it wasn't called this, what it's called now, but I think it was wrong. Then you start thinking, Oguchi, I have to confront this man and ask him, Oguchi, why when I was 11, so?
Which is GBV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
So that is how I was introduced to professional football. I stayed with Paradise, who made true to his promise, which will make me a professional footballer. The man was aggressive towards me in terms of my practice, in terms of what I ate, in terms of my sleeping patterns. And today we want to have players sleeping in lush apartments for that dream to become possible. And I did all this in Mhlale Garage. And Emmanuel Corner was not expensive. It was an aggressive, everyday must, brown bread, peanut butter. Oros, ebusuku ungadleli ukuthi ungakwazi ukuvuka kusasa. You eat enough so that you are able to wake up in the morning fresh for ukuthi uvuke uyojoga. Cold, not, it was a must. The man was relentless. And at some point I used to feel, why am I ngibuyiseli kithi? But kithi C7. Ngilala dining room. Angina freedom ye TV. Akuna balloon efridge.
And that way another day.
Mamela ukuse Paradise, like his name. But I have to stand the treatment. At the time, it looked bad, but it meant him than home. Because home, I would not be able to get under pen 6 as a Edgar's. Pants we probably school uzomela umgcoka isikhindi. Sale lapha engidlalela because istrip usihlala nami. But with him, Edgar's, jockeys, and all these things that look special when you're a kid. Mangena Edgar's, West, ngena Southgate, yo, it's a dream come true. Yo, alangeni ngamla kuphela. Sengenile vandag. So it had to be that. So I stayed with him. I stuck it out until when I was 16 years. True to the promise he had made me, I went with him one day with Peter Msimane to watch a football match between an academy that Peter had opened, Magabuya Chris, Batipani Mlokwane Academy. It was funded by the ANC government. I don't know what was going on there. Against a morning show, a group of guys that train at Rockville. So we were short a morning show. Upito watching Paradise. Kanti ingwenya wa inga peshi. Then it's 11v11. And then I asked Coach Guta, but why not? I was put on as a striker. I played 10 minutes and I was put out. Supersport had come to see 2 other players, but Thomas Madikhache decided, no, that man, We were not here for him, but take that man out. We are taking him with us.
Yeah. May you so rest in peace.
What a gentleman.
Yeah.
The next day, I was a professional.
Wow.
Life had changed. Like today, I was sitting here with the hope, you lift, yokubukela machita, ngichaza ukuthi ngigibele BMW kapitso eyelo. The next morning, being a professional.
Wow. And in your mind at that time, because it's today and then tomorrow you're a professional, do you still have a recollection, Jomo, as to what was going through your mind at that point? What did this professional thing mean?
A lot of anger was going through me.
Even though you are now a professional?
Yeah. Okay. Now I look back and then I realized it started wrong. It started with me and vengeance. I wanted to show my detractors, who I don't think were out to spite me by having the things they had.
Yeah.
Because their families could afford ESKL and card.
Okay.
They could have amateur grant because bane hembele amatariana. And I did not have any of those things. I being an all-star. It was something I could never even dream of in the all-star. Githi, they'd rather get in North Star. But you go as a fan. But you knew deep down, I'm suffering. So each time I go out, I'd pretend at Nyamachiteni and then go over the little hill that's across my house. North Star Islands. But it meant now something was developing. I was being a loner. I didn't have the nice things that other boys have. So why am I now? Because what will happen, the end result is bazolach.
Exactly.
So I'll always go home sad because bang lach I'm continuing ngeskero sama paper. Segwamaphela enye mess ekhanda. So it started developing. Mabayenza ikar zamatrat. I didn't have any skill of using my hands for anything. I think the only skill much later we try ATM and keeping you.
Yeah.
But in Sakula, I would not get involved because I couldn't. So it meant I don't take part in those things. Then it meant I started playing football alone. Magu same moto is same moto. Magu is samaketi is samaketi. So cause I'm wasmin when I'm developing my craft, I'm not aware of playing alone against the wall. And then people are surprised later on. Nami, I was surprised. Why do I have such mean technique, kicking technique? But it meant all those years, all that time spent alone got me to a point where I feel I was one of the best technique specialists in the country, in South African football. And that is to say, in the education part, if amateurs, these small boys, can actually invest a lot of time on sharpening their craft on their own, they'll realize the noise that surrounds them is unnecessary. It only comes beneficial much later on in their careers when it's really needed, when the cheer is about the perfected craft that they were sharpening back when they were on their own. So if they actually take time out and say, no, when no one is watching, it's actually better. Because you can't be practicing free kicks. So it's a distraction. Try to one about what it will do. It will do wonders for you. And this is not only for free kicks or footballers only. It means those that are studying to be doctors. Why do you want to go to a library when you can do it in your own bedroom? Regulate the noise. I don't have an experience of being a doctor, but I have an experience of doing something on your own.
Yes. So you say to the young person, take what Malcolm Gladwell said. Invest 10,000 hours in what you do, and then you'll become good in it. And that's what I hear you saying with your free kicks. Just Eric, clarify something before we go deeper into your professional life. So you getting this opportunity to be a soccer player. Am I getting a sense that what you're saying is that you said this is the opportunity, and because of my background, I'm gonna prove you wrong, guys?
Yes.
Is that the understanding I have?
It was the narrative at the time. Look, it was wrong. But when you looked around me at the time, it's something that affects a lot of young soccer players now. I had nobody to speak to. I had nobody to sit me down and say, congratulations, 101, life 101, let's sit down, mamela ndoda. You still have to wake up in the morning and say hi to people. You still have to go to church. You grew up in a church environment. But most importantly, Sabazal Bako, we were earning 352 Rand a week. You are earning 3,000 as your first salary. If you put 2,000 Rand away, you will have 10,000 in 5 months. No. Families, black families will have meetings without you to speak about you saving, but still not tell you that you must save because so totally much. So no one is willing to take the bait in and say, no, I'll sit him down and tell him. We are talking about mom, dad, 6 siblings. So when you realize you develop something as well. So it's not only the streets that you want to dominate, you want to dominate home as well.
Wow.
And you dominate home. So when the wheels fall off, because when the times were good, now you are even aggravated, you are broke, who will tell you? You are angry, where's much? So no one will tell you. Where's ilogish liyahleka manje? And people will always say we are quick to blame our families when we lose money, but it is a simple matter of education.
Exactly.
We are not saying we didn't see Uchi Mali Apela, but it would be nice for those that are managing boys manje or the parents to these kids to make sure they don't change the complexion of the family just because they don't want to say now 5 Rand extra.
Correct. And we are going to get into that. I would really like us to hone into it. But let me take you back to your professional, the start of your career. You, Thomas Marichache says, we want this boy. And then that was SuperSport at the time.
SuperSport United.
And just maybe take us through your experience now being in this setup. What is the dialogue, the day in the life of a player? And what experiences did you learn during that time of SuperSport until you went to the next team?
So with different clubs that I played for, the dialogue was different. But I'll start with SuperSport being my first Premier League club. Obviously, as a first club, I'm 16 years. I'm still supposed to be at school, but everything has taken a flip turn. The agreement was, I'm dropping out of matric. I will go to Atteridgeville, live with an organized family of a teacher, husband and wife. They teach at a local high school in Pelinda. But it gets too comfortable. You arrive, it's a double-story house. I'm living with 2 other teammates, Sienki Mutlajwa and Kevin Spego, in the same house. Without telling each other, we start realizing that they arrange, the club goes out of their way to arrange in night school 14 to finish our matric, especially me, because I was the one in matric at the time. The other 2, I think it was grade 10 and something. And I go first 2 weeks, I realized, no, I'm time, I'm old lady, but I'm not speaking to anyone. The people that have brought me to the club are also not following up to this thing as going.
Okay.
They've got their product, which is the player, to deliver, to render a service, which is football. Promises made are not followed up by the parents that side as well. Nithatha umntwana afunde isikolo, nathi nizomfundisa isikolo. So seeing that club is quiet, home but quiet, how am I relax?
Yeah.
Yes. This school thing can wait, no problem. That is how men dropped out. The day in my life now, obviously, the dynamics would change because there's no school training. So now it's morning training session, SuperSport United. Drive back to Columbia in Atteridgeville. Eat, sleep, and do nothing, and buy a lot of CDs. I think in my first 6 months, I had about 200 CDs.
Wow.
Go back to training, Ndambama.
So 2 sets in a day.
Yeah, 2 training sessions in a day. And after the training session, because I'm explaining the full day, you asked, and after the second training session, because Pretoria Tech, we sit and browse the women going past, and we start painting pictures, images. When we start getting paid, grand. So now already we don't know. We are speaking live into what's not supposed to happen. But now because we are speaking it, we are kids. It's gonna be the next step of our lives. This is what we want. God actually gives you what you say you want.
Yeah. Ask and it shall be given.
And it gets given. Later on, you call it everything. You call it a curse. But the club decides that no, they're good enough. We raise the contracts. You move from 3,000 to 6,000. It means now you start attending freshers balls, and that was the life at Supersport. And Pito comes in because he was not the assistant coach when he started. Now he's the assistant coach. He wants to introduce a lot of professionalism at the club, which comes at a cost. It means he has to get rid of senior players. Now we start experiencing the sadness of saying goodbye to people that had welcomed us to the club. But I also happen to be the victim of the clean out, because I think in his head he felt Lente Chuklala C3 is actually not helping us develop. Because now the club is getting a lot of reports as wrong. We are rebels. And then there's problems. We are coming late to training. And this is not all from our doing. And you must remember at the time, we are getting call-ups to junior national teams at different moments, the three of us. And our friendship, our brotherhood spirit that we brought to the house when we moved in is taking a knock.
Yeah.
Because we are starting to have contrasting fortunes. One will go to the national team. I will not go. When he comes back, I'm not happy for him.
Yeah.
He's got money. He's got Safa clothes, Adidas clothes I don't have. When I go, 2 of them don't go. I come back. But we don't realize we are growing. We arrived at the club since 17. We're about 19 now. We are not understanding what is happening to us. And eventually, I was shipped off on loan to Silver Stars.
Did Peter explain to you why?
No. And I was very angry with him for that. Because I blamed him for a long time. This guy brought me to the club from the township. He actually influenced me to be signed.
Yeah.
And then he easily lets go of me, takes me to a club, ground, win bonus, lunch after training. A home game, a vendor. Owen Tagama makes people run like crazy. And this is now my first encounter with Owen Tagama. I'm 19 years. I'm to meet the man in about 7 years when I joined Pirates. And I was not happy. Now, alcohol comes in. So at Silver Stars, my day changes from what it was at Supersport. Supersport, it was training, home, training, girls.
Yeah.
Now, Silver Stars, training, if I want, in the morning, because mentality is, I'm a loanee from Supersport.
Yeah.
This is a small club in the first division. They can't tell me what to do. I'm angry with Pito, but I don't know why I'm angry.
Yes. And you haven't expressed your anger to him either.
Yeah. Or told the current coach that I don't want to be here. So I will go Monday morning. I will not go Tuesday morning. I will not go Wednesday morning. I will go Thursday afternoon. I will travel to matches on Friday and I will play 30% and come back. I will come Monday reeking of alcohol. A t-shirt because I look in my car. I don't have a Supersport training kit. So you guys don't have training kit. You cannot tell me what I can training a golf shirt. Train with boots, with no socks, with a Jomo Cosmos track pen, and I've never played for Cosmos at the time.
At another team.
Yeah. I'm a hardcore rebel at the time. I'm looking for serious attention. But this thing that I've just learned called alcohol the effects is having on my life, I don't know Guti Mwabize. You know, I don't understand hangover. To a point, I didn't even know the name at the time, but I knew I felt horrible in the mornings. And the only thing that will take that feeling away is to have another drink. But it means I'm also digging deeper into that understanding of that space, of this new space. So Silver Stars was training sometimes, bottle store, training later on if I want. And on and off, it was that irregular behavior. So the day in my life at Silver Stars was exactly like that. Hope comes, I joined Wits University.
So just quickly before we go to Wits, what I just want to understand is, I care for everything there are consequences.
Yes.
At this moment. Now, Silver Stars, I reported back.
Eventually they do.
To say, this money, okay. And it didn't affect you at that point then?
I didn't care.
Okay.
I didn't care. And because I wanted out.
Okay.
But I didn't know Guti, out would not mean going back to Supersport.
Then
Out would mean out.
Oh, okay.
So now my reality
now
is kicking in. Yeah, Guti. So I'm clubless now. And I've never experienced that.
Yes.
So what does clubless mean? And then a good friend, still a very good friend to date, Ernest Landier, he was a journalist for a football magazine called Kickoff.
Yeah.
Speaks to Roger Disa, and I moved to Wits. I signed a very good, comfortable contract. Soon after joining the club, I'm in a car accident, coming back from a party.
You driving or you're a
I'm
passenger?
driving.
Okay.
But already, now that characterizes my start to the Wits career.
Yes.
He starts with a drunken car crash. Soon after signing, he has to borrow money from the club. So already, a relationship, 2 months later, is stifled by behavior. So already they are dealing with me behind closed doors as a problem. This one, we need to have a close look at.
Yeah.
So I start being treated like that. That is now when you said to me, did people understand me? And I said, no one actually understood me. I'm now dubbed the bad boy in SA football.
Yeah.
I'm 20 years old. Ganti, nyasafara phakathi. I need somebody I can speak to ukuthi enyapayizisela. Understand. Uthi understand. Kwenzakalani ngene etshwaleni ngifuna ukuphuma angisakwazi ukuphuma. Mara bumnandi bona. Now there's women in my life. Unfortunately, because I don't think I was planning to be a dad at 21. And then fortunately that I have a sweet, polite 18-year-old boy from that unfortunate situation, Unati. And he ended up being the one thing that towed my life.
Kept you on the narrow.
Yes, oh no, here's this innocent soul that I have to change how I do things. But that was maybe the change I needed. But now it comes at a cost. Wits releases me, I go to the first division.
After how long, if you remember?
A year, in a 2-year contract. I go to Dangerous Darkies. I stay in a 1-year contract, lucrative. Because remember, I lived the Premier League, I go to the first division. Everyone thought I was crazy. But because Robert Gumet had just stepped into the football space. Go to Darkies for 12,000 Rand a month. Twice what I was getting from Wits. But I don't last long. I stayed 3 months. I go to Winners Park quickly in the very same season. Winners Park, I get paid 3,000. A woman is heavily pregnant. I start lying to her.
Wow.
I'm hola 10. So it means I'm not enjoying my life. 3,000, it has to go to the pregnancy.
Because that's a delta of what? 9,000 drop.
But because now I'm desperate for something I could have had all my life had I sat back, listened, and followed instructions. Now I'm chasing it. I want to play football. I'm desperate to play football. I'm dying inside to play football. God willing, it happened. I start playing, but I'm in the wilderness. No one sees me in Winners Park in the first division. It's a unfashionable club. I start scoring important goals. the move to Dynamos comes. And that is, for me, the first start. As I at that point, I'd been 6 maybe years as a professional, 6, 7. I start experiencing the life of living like a professional footballer. But it's forced because I'm Shalikian. There's nothing to do.
Yes.
So now I start understanding. So people will always say, I had my best years at Dynamos, or my best season ever at Dynamos. Yes, they're right. But like I say, it was forced. There was nothing to do. There was no nightclub. Mawufuna ukuyothenga utshwala kumele ngime kube dark. Sometimes even ngo-11 ebusuku for abantu bavaye, and then ngene lapho ngithenge ngihambe, because the supporters would try and beat you up if they found you buying alcohol. And I'd elevated myself very quickly to the supporters' hearts. I'd endeared myself to a superstar. I was scoring important goals. So that meant I was denying myself an opportunity to have fun. So sooner or later, I started realizing that everyone in this town relies on me now to score important
goals.
Now
you're carrying their shoulder.
And when I say everyone, I mean even neighboring small villages, to a point where it moved me a lot. I was getting emotional as the bus enters the stadium and I see all these people shouting my name, small kids running in the same line as the entry of the bus where I am, a lot of them, just in this window where this Gerald Modabi is at, and I'd see tears streaming down my face. Is it happening really? So now there's these small ones, and you walk into the stadium to inspect the pitch, and I was naughty like that, so I'd allow the rest of my teammates to walk in, and then I'd walk in soon after alone, because I wanted to embrace whatever it is that I wanted, and I'd feel it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's happening. When I walked in, they'd be mad. They'd lose their minds, and I knew, okay, it has to happen. It had gotten to a point where it had nothing to do with how I feel. It was about them now. I played each match for these people. Yeah. I play each match for my little son, who has just been born, is about a month old. And there was more to life than my regular alcohol activities that I looked forward to every day.
Something at least bigger than yourself.
And then I started living like a professional. My day changed. My dialogue was wake up, go to training on my own, because the club trains in the afternoon. Come back, rest, eat well, watch movies, go to training in the afternoon, train with the squad, deliver on the weekend. Big money move comes, Orlando Pirates, brings me to Johannesburg. The dynamics change again. Was it the right time for me to move to Johannesburg? Definitely not. Did I want to
move?
That
is now in hindsight, no?
Did I want to move to Johannesburg? No. My national team fortunes were on the door. I'd been to 2 camps already, but didn't play. And I'm thinking, because this season, Yapela, Masbuya next season, definitely 3 more games I'm in the national squad as a regular. It doesn't happen. Pet Malabela sells Dynamos to Amazulu for 42 million. We are all in limbo now. Where am I going? Luckily, Sundowns makes an offer, and they send me 30,000 rand a taxi to come to Johannesburg. I don't even step to Klorkop.
Did you say 300 or 30,000?
30,000 rand.
Okay, just wanted to be clear.
It takes me 130 rand.
Wow.
It pass. I take the 30K, and I made sure that I see mistake. I found a mistake. I capul in 2000. Tell my peer. I would none of my phone will touch a back.
Then we sort it.
I no problem. And I continue to answer their calls. But we're waiting. I'm coming. But as I'm stepping out of my house to go to Klorkop, there's a Nissan Almera standing at my gate. It's an Orlando Pirates vehicle. And get in, we're going to training. Training, okay. Like sheep to slaughter, I jump in. Go to touchdown, Ellis Park. there's a lunch going on there. There's every Orlando Pirates player having lunch at the restaurant. It overlooks Ellis Park. There's big stars there. Ooh, there's Sophie Lagasi, there's Joseph Makanya, there's everyone there. I'm nervous as hell.
Gift. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there because
that was the time 206,
206,
yes,
definitely.
yes.
So the coach makes it easy. The coach is Mitch at the time. He welcomes me as I walk into the door. He says, "No, relax, have fun. You are not here by mistake. We expected you, but you expected me, and no one spoke to me about coming here." Okay, coach, expect me. Cool. Angisho ukuthi, hey, madoda, like nina ngilindiwe somewhere.
Yeah.
I immediately get in the groove of things. I eat orange juice, rice, fish. But you're going to training. Okay, cool. We go Johannesburg Stadium. I'm given training kit. I start training. Sundowns,
so you don't have contract with Sundowns, but they have put the money.
Yeah, obviously it was to lure me.
Yeah.
To show me this is how big we go.
But they didn't come back for their 30. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. 30 scored. So anyabo, happy Christmas.
Yeah.
So I went, Achimane Pirates, preseason started. I'm not speaking to anyone. 3-4 days later, then I get an agent. Life becomes real now. Big money is being spoken about. It's exchanged in conversations. I'm spending a lot of time at restaurants at night to discuss my new life. I move out of home. I get my own place in Pasonia. Again, a lot is happening at home. I'm 23. I've never lived in Niwan. I'm going to live in a 3-bedroom duplex. A week later, I buy a brand new car. Remember, I've never saved since day one. Nala, ayaqhubeka lento. Ibhili life is going up.
Yeah.
I continue living the way ngithanda ukuphila ngakhona. But the life that I lived, the dialogue that I lived at Dynamos that got me to Pirates quickly went out the window. So now I'm back in Johannesburg at a big club. I'm hanging with celebrities. I'm dating some celebrities.
Yeah.
I'm a father to a newborn baby who, for about 3 months of my first move to Pirates, I've neglected the responsibilities of being a dad. I'm forking the cash, no problem.
But not the emotional connection.
No. I want to be a child myself, man.
Yeah.
Food to go to. This is it. It's happening. I'm buying couches, about 30,000 rand. I'm living this new life that is becoming taxing because I get money now. 2 days later, I don't have money. I don't have friends that can afford to help me out in this new life that I'm living.
Yes.
When I look at the friends I have, it's people that I grew up with. You look at him, and when a problem is serious, I shouldn't have bought myself at 30,000 because I'm not going to.
Exactly.
So he ends up sleeping there. To him, it's a dream come true. But he has no idea he's sleeping there because you have no money to take him home. And if I take him a petrol cleaner, so it, I'm not petrol Johannesburg Stadium. I'm at a new club.
Yeah.
No one knows this.
Only you.
Only me. What comes back from that? More alcohol. So that is why it ended up being some sort of known factor that people wanted to make their own. I was a drunk. No. I don't think I was a drunk. I just used alcohol as an escape to a point where I've never drank at a tavern. I've never, like a person that was said to love alcohol. I've never went and creating a tavern. I've never had that experience in my life. It was bottle store, buy, go home, or Plush nightclub.
Yes.
Go find a small corner because I can't dance. You see me coming into the club, you will never see me in the club until I leave in the AMs. So understanding that you spoke about, again, nobody understood me. I was not a party animal. I was not a fun-loving person, but I was this person that all of a sudden ended up feeling like I owed alcohol the favor engenzele yona yokuthi each time being stress, being Caesar, fully stress. I thought so now I needed to pay back that favor by buying alcohol more often. So me and alcohol had a relationship that was bigger than my love life. That was bigger than my relationship with my siblings. That was bigger than my relationship with my parents. And till that point, Grootman, there's still no one to talk to. It's 10 years later in a professional career. I'm 23 years. So the day in the life that I've really, really had an opportunity to live an honest professional life, Dynamos only.
Wow. What made the difference then compared to other teams? Is it because you found yourself or is it something else?
The lack of the luxuries, that the extras, you know, the city lights, nice cars, alcohol points were not reachable. Each third house it chose go by every mall in a liquor city. Lapaya, it's a small town where everybody, like in Bloemfontein, favorite Celtics, Lapaya, everybody favorite Dynamos.
Correct, yeah.
Whether was the Chiefs, whether was the Pirates, Basel Quality Stadium, including Chiefs and the Pirates. So you were not short of a crowd, a big team. So that's why you were not faced when you played them. When they came, I knew Guti Sowetan has been in the back page saying Chiefs are in trouble, Modabi's on fire. And they would be in trouble. I would score Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, I didn't care who they were. I'd deliver, score. So, Ukshota, Kazi was the difference. Ekian, I didn't have. So I was forced to behave. It was like I was captured. I was arrested for the better good of my football career. That is why I had a blistering season.
I see. Now let's go to the example you made about the 30,000 couches, né? And then there was no one that you could borrow money from. I think you get back to the people that you were playing with, Kanakweyo. You mentioned Abutso but because you would assume when you are in a team, you are now a community. Is there something about you being that community that says, but in case look at this guy, I'm bailing out? Or is it a matter of now shame to say, no, they cannot know, I've got a couple of problems? Yes.
The second one, it's a matter of pride. I'd rather walk to training than ask for a lift from the guy that lives in the neighboring set of townhouses, who is a teammate, because if I trans, if I tell him the truth, because you are in an environment that has 40 superstars. You are part of that community, as you put it. So you start living a life of rather keep quiet than seek help. So it's a scourge. It grows. You delve deep into it, and until the wheels literally comes off in your life, and you realize, if I could not tell So or Joseph Makanya, how can I tell Zix? Who is a nobody? Zix is where Suzotshela abantu baselokishini. So when it hits you, you lose everything, you go home, you lock the bedroom, you don't want people to find out what's going on about you. So it's a matter of shame that gets you to that point where you end up thinking, I can't share nalabantu laba. And this is a thing that is not a fault Yama Soccer Club. A fault, I would want to believe a community has a hand in encouraging that behavior. When you're doing well, they, as a community, we, because I'm part of the community, end up encouraging in Desero.
Exactly.
You know, I can buy a case, a whiskey. I can't obviously mention names because they're not paying for the time. About 12 yama whiskey, and you ask yourself, why are you buying 12 when you are one? And when you go home to sleep, you've gone into a retail shop and bought the 12 bottles for 2,500. You go home, you wake up in the morning, you open your boot to check how many bottles you have left. You realize you have one unopened. What happened to the 9 or 10? You don't remember who you gave them to, but you know you are remaining with one.
Yes.
So it means you have just given away 2,500 like that. You've thrown it into the mire, and you don't want to take responsibility for it. You don't want to go back and ask Uti Chance what actually happened last night. But the community, as I say, we don't have the decency to sit a person down and say, dude, look, last night you unnecessarily bought 12 bottles. There's a family that doesn't have food 3 houses from here. You know, you could have fed that. No, we celebrate the moment and we laugh about the tomorrow. We wake up tomorrow, the very same people that we were celebrating with the happiness of the 12 bottles are the ones that are laughing that he has nothing. You know, he's right back where we started. He's with us, and we don't grow each other as a community. We don't say, let's use this one to elevate all of us. We say, let's wait for this one to hit rock bottom, then we can have a joyous moment.
And what you're saying is so true, but there's also another part to it. And let me test if Luena, maybe you got in that space. And I'm bringing another program. When I watch people who go, when the program Moja Lavia, I blew it.
Yes.
There's always somebody, either a friend or uncle or somebody, you know. So I just want to go back to what you said about the community not saying something. Did you maybe find yourself Luena, in that program where maybe there was this odd person, I'm Jomana Mare, how can I tell so and so, and then maybe the Keniga he that?
My big sister.
Okay.
Kinshaka mentality. Who does she think she is? No one speaks to me like this. But I don't know when did I arrive at that point of my life where I felt macho, I felt I'm the man, I felt I'm touchable, I felt no one can tell me anything. But it was happening. I was in that space, I was living it. But I also didn't realize that a lot of the people that were in my life were actually peeling off. They were moving away. Looking back, was it because they are seeing loopholes of what was coming? As they put it, because when the fans stop cheering and you're sitting on your own, you start even looking at the mirror or at the picture in front of you. Even Lobo Mnyata in the group of 5 friends you were with, Lobo eyes, is even giving you the attitude to then you're thinking that, how now? So Kuluma and you start realizing that, did I treat people correct when I was in my prime? Did I speak to people properly? But now you don't have resources to correct that wrong. You are on your own. If your power was money, it's not there. If your voice was fame, it's not there. If your strength was soccer, it's not there. If your resume to getting girls was the cars, they are not there. You have nothing. You don't have hope even. You are desperate to fix the wrongs. You want to say sorry, but you don't know what you want to apologize for. Because at the time you're doing those things, you thought they were correct. But now you're feeling like, maybe I owe people apologies, but who did I really wrong? Because all I was doing, I was having fun. I was a kid. Because when you play football, you're always a kid. You always think, no matter what, because footballers have a knack of behaving like little boys, you don't realize that even age is running. You know, until that last contract when you're 32 and the chairman calls you in and says, look, dude, we feel like you. You're a good guy. The youngsters like having you around, but you earn too much. You know, if you want to stay, you can stay. But 10,000 salary cut.
You earn too much, and outside of value because of age, maybe.
And now your reality kicks in, man. You start seeing small things. Why do I have 3 cars that I'm paying 9,000 rand? Why do I live in a rented duplex? Why is my career left with a year and I've never bought property? Why did I never call home enough when I was playing? You know you were busy. Not that you had problems. You know you were busy. Each time you went home, you'll go home, you leave money, and you thought it was enough. But you didn't realize. You don't realize what you didn't have relationships with anyone anymore. You were using money to control everyone around you.
Yes.
And when it dries out, you are sad. You are really sad. I don't have anything to control people because I was using people as pawns. Now I'm sending next. I can't move them around like chess cows. Into the main source of controlling them was cash, and I don't have cash. At that point, you feel like, can I die, Lord? But it dawns on you, Gucci, who do I go to? That is where you realize, Gucci, you start fighting with the community, man.
Okay, later in that space, so you're saying,
yes, I was. This is gonna sound very funny because some people want to believe I'm a stand-up comedian, and I don't believe that for 1 second. So this one time, I'm thinking, I get better, cool. I can't even afford a 5 rand shave. On board once. So I take in Tambo, I found it a toolbox in a timer lab, and this is 2020. Gerald, come on, boy, you are doing this. It's a hanger, man. Hey, I fast. Yeah, we see drop la puga. Axin telecredit portal. So shooting so man is fast and so we are not ceiling pants same body and I will not be able to explain
to die.
Yeah. The Lord through this globe showed me that I will crush you like this globe.
Wow. Oh, you still have got light like this globe. You cannot go.
I cried hard. Because now I just realized, dude, I don't think there's a better way to die if it's not your time. I took that as a sign to fight back. The fight back was not very friendly. It was unceremonious. It took a lot of guts. It took a lot of beating. Every single day of your life, you walk out of your home. The people that laughed at you yesterday will laugh at you today. They will laugh at you 1 month later. They will laugh at you a year later. They never get tired of laughing at you to a point where you ask yourself, what did I really do to these people? I thought these are the people that would see hope for their children, as this is the only player that has ever done the black and white of Orlando Pirates. We can make an example of this man, but you are turned into an example of laughter. A kid, shop, won't go because and you start looking through the processes of your life. I'm going to change this because I didn't die when I wanted to kill myself. I have a job to do. My job is to educate these kids that we celebrate our stars. We don't ignore the frailties of their stardom, like the alcohol. We don't ignore those. But we start by teaching our kids that first, when you speak of this man, he's Dingan Tobela. He was the world boxing champion who comes from Shawela. We don't start by saying he is Dingan Tobela, who had a funeral parlor. Now he doesn't have, and we give reasons we don't know.
And we laugh.
No. Using him as an example, what I saw when I was a kid, he lives 2 streets away from me. I see him today, I take off my cap, I still give him the same respect I gave him when he was a star. Because when he was a star, I didn't care about the cars that he drove. I didn't care the woman, the beautiful woman he drove with in those TT back in 96, 95. But to me, he's that guy that last night he was in Las Vegas fighting Tony Lopez. Today he's in Shawela celebrating with his people. And his people, I was part of his people because he was a guy, I was here and looking up like this, and I can now, sitting here, remember even the scent of his cologne. This guy is a star. I can be like this guy. And I became like that guy. And those are the teachings we need to be teaching our kids. Don't look at the problems that came with the stardom. Look at the processes that were taken on the way to the stardom, to achieving that and do better by not doing this that Dingan Thobela did or Gerald Modabi did. You take those, you throw in the bin. We do better. How can we do better? Stop Dingan Thobela when you see him. Ask for advice. Come to Gerald Modabi's house. Ask, Uguti, how can I be better?
Correct.
I want to play football. And our community is one step closer to arriving in the land of cream and honey.
And you're so right, because I always say to people, there are different ways of learning. You have a choice to go the hard route, or to look at Gerald and say, hey, here's an open library. I can read from his life, I can learn from his life, and I can cut short my mistakes. But sometimes people choose the other route of mocking, saying this and this, and now they come and cry. And let me tell you, I spoke about I blew it earlier.
Yes.
Almost everyone has got an I blew moment. The only difference, go alone, they go TV, they go to newspaper, they tell all of this. But I'm telling you, most of us, if not all of us, our I blew moment. So what I'm trying to say to everyone who's listening, don't think that because you are not known, not because maybe you are not on the newspapers, on TV, that you are safe. Your family knows about your I blew moments. So let's not just take people because Batala will TV like yourself and now saying, it's Angazak.
And you know what's fun? I was saying this to my son the other day. You know, there's an element of mocking even on the I Blew It show from the community. And I said to my son, Nat, do you know, if you take 10 members of the very same community and sit them down and give them the I Blew It contract for doing the show, people would be willing to lie that they blew 21 million,
exactly,
so that they can be on the show and generate the money for teaching, because it's teaching, you know. And like you say, how do we take it? Do we look at the show to look at the t-shirt, or we listen to the message, hey son, look, we were not there when he chose this money, but you are sitting with your son as you watch this thing. This is a moment for you to tap on the shoulder and say, if our Mamel, he still has an opportunity through this show to tell us, to teach you, the small ones, that it can be avoided. Not open a can of beer as you watch this thing and you say, but you are watching still. But this man is listening to you. This man develops fear of not wanting to be like the man on the screen. Because somebody like you, the idiotic father or petit Pia, speaking nonsense, is speaking like this. You are instilling fear in this small boy. He doesn't want to play football because he's scared there's some father that will speak like his father is speaking about other people while they watch the show. So what we say to our children goes a very, very long way. And you are surprised 4 years later your kid is a thug or is a drug addict. No. You led him that direction. You don't speak life. You are negative. You are sad. But most importantly, you are scared. You've never left your comfort zone. And your comfort zone is that fear. That fear space. I've never been anything. I don't want to be anything. I don't want to be laughed at. I want to laugh at people. And that's it. It's not fair. People need to open up. People need to explore the avenues that the Lord gives us, all of us. Because I remember when we were doing this, I think my coffee was weaker than yours, but I tried. In the kitchen, starting blocks, starting position is the same for all of us. It has nothing to do with background. It has nothing to do with landscape or demographics. When we have Wagner, Bantaba Ingaki, or Seprastin or Soweto, Sonke opportunities are the same. Why do we have so many black professional footballers and we have such less white footballers that are staying in Bryanston, Sentin, and whatnot? But the only time we mention this problem of being black is when singasena mali. No, let's mention the right things. We were not educated, but let's try after messing up to get education so that we can teach the ones after us, the ones that we are coaching now, with the hope we can take ourselves seriously, as black people.
We will get to it, but I also want to go back, and I will seem to contradict myself just a little bit. I'll just one example. A player earns 150,000. It's in your newspapers. And
they actually
knows,
do earn.
And then uncle knows, a neighbor knows. Now you start getting friends that were never friends. You get really cousins that are actually not cousins that you never knew about. Okay, because everyone knows that you earn 150. Now there's somebody in corporate who earns more or less the same. Okay, I always ask myself to say, but I earn 150, this player earns 150, but it seems like our paths are going different. So I'm asking these questions deliberately so that we can get to something for the players that are coming.
Okay.
And the point I'm getting to is in the form of a question. Could we say it is lack of education? Number one. Could we say, is it the media? Could we say it's maybe our backgrounds? And I know you have already answered the background part of it, but I'm also asking it iteratively, deliberately. Or is there, because now there are many women, I mean, we hear a lot of stories to say, hey, when a bus stops there, some ladies just throw people at themselves. Is it, what is, if from your experience, is it a combination of all these factors? And if it is a combination of all these factors, what would be your advice to other players coming through to deal with a myriad of all these challenges?
Oh, yeah, no. I didn't realize when I saw all these books surrounding us, it would get to this part where I feel like it's a scale or a vet library. But it's also exciting because I think the answer is easy. You mention all these things and put together the ones that are coming up now need to add everything you've just mentioned up. It will arrive them to an answer at myself, you. When it started, Bofunani. 2 months later into the big contract, have you managed to achieve what you had set out to do when you were dreaming?
Yes.
It answers. The one woman you started out with, why is she not enough anymore? Why do you need 3 on the woman part?
Yes.
You needed, all you dreamed of was this one Golf 8 GTI. Now you have which ones?
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because the thing, you've got one son, you've got one wife, you've got yourself. You have that thing. That thing is to transport 12 people.
Yeah.
So it means for that thing to be exciting, it needs to be filled. When it's filled, it exhausts 150K. And in all these things you mentioned, education, because you've skipped that stage. You're already earning the 150K without the education. So you need to be aggressive on your own education by reminding yourself, why did I even do this in the first place? The answer will give you all of this put together. At the end, it's about you. We can blame everything that has been mentioned. It will always end up about you.
Yes.
You saw Abu Gerald Modabi finishing the money. You saw Abu Banbani finishing the money. You continue to follow in the horrible footsteps. Now you even go one better, man. I'm told they are even renting out helicopters now when they have fun. So a lot of things is going on that can be avoided. But this, in short, says it's about one choice that needs to be made, that you always have to rely back on the fact you started this thing for a sole reason.
Yes.
That reason should always be your reminder, I cannot afford to blow the money and be a laughing stock at the end of the day, because that will never change. People will laugh.
Yes.
So the only way it can change for you as an individual is doing better than this. Doing better than this and making sure we don't speak stories like this. So you earn 150K 4 days before you are borrowing money from colleagues or neighbors or even loan sharks. It's a lot of money. People, our fathers earn that now, the whole year. Annual salary. Footballers earn that a month minus bonuses. With bonuses, they go home with about 240, 250K. And it's real. And sadly, again, it's only happening to us, the black society. It's unfair. It's unfair on us.
True. So, like I said, I mentioned this deliberately, but what I like out of your question is the owning. Because anybody who has got an external locus of control will say, hey, it's the club, they didn't give us, and all those things are important. But the fact that you bring it back to you to own it up, I think it gives you power to move forward. And that's what I want to get into. But before we go there, Jomo, we can stay here. We can talk about all of the challenges that you came across. But I think it would be unfair to you, but also to your friends and also to your family. Not everything was going downhill. We know that you were good. You were a Beckham, if you like.
Yes.
You know, when it comes to free kicks.
I was actually better than him. Believe it or not.
Great. Guys, this is not like, it's true, isn't it? But here's the point that I want to come to. Let's talk about your highlights. A few highlights, man, to say, there's this moment. You spoke about scoring goals when you were in Guyana and stuff. There are good things that you have done. There are good things that Pirates saw in you coming. There's something that Sundown saw. Because the challenge, Kihori, when we forget such things, there are also the negative out there, and people think that there's only one side of the coin. There's no one side of the coin. There are two sides of the coin. And let's also celebrate the other side of the coin.
Yeah, and there are a lot. Paradise. My first Niltovi soccer schools, soccer clinics T-shirt with an embroidered puma on the sleeve. I looked forward to going back to the township Eshawela because I was living in Klipspruit, just to go and wear that thing and show off and give hope to my friends that I left at the back. I'm in a better space. I'm getting developed. Arriving at Midland Stadium for the first time, the day I met Paradise and bumped into Jup who I'd seen on TV during the commercial with Dr. Kumal.
And luckily you met him for the right reason.
Yeah.
Not yet.
No. And of course, later on, we met when we were stars, and we caught up on our contrasting moments. And we realized Stardom at the time was showing us flames.
Yes.
So this is soon before he got into that madness that happened, and which I think he learned from. And going to the School of Excellence. Going to Coventry City at the age of 15. Meeting Peter Msimane. Signing my first professional contract for SuperSport United. Playing 29 games back-to-back for Dynamos.
Wow.
In a season I'll never ever forget as long as I live. And yes, signing a good deal with one of the biggest clubs in Africa, Orland Pirates, and playing Manchester United in my first match for Pirates, because it's my boyhood favorite club, Man United. So it doesn't get bigger than that. We favor Pirates in Douala, or favor Man United. You see Pirates play Man United in a match. I remember what was sponsoring that, United Bank. You watch them play at Ellis Park on TV without any knowledge. You would see 8 years, 10 years down the line, you'd be taking part in a match of that magnitude, and having dinner with Sir Alex Ferguson the night before that match. And of course, the debut, 70,000 field at Kings Park in Durban, playing in the African Champions League with Pirates, and the ultimate one, going back to the club that gave me so much in terms of identity as the coach of the under-19 side.
Wow. And we're going to talk about it. And this part of what went well, I really, really didn't ask it for the sake of, I do one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
So when somebody's down, I always, or even if they are not down, you say just, because life I get so. Myself, I get down sometimes. So there's an exercise that in NPL, Neuro Programming Linguistics, NPL, that we do as coaches to say there's what we call the gratitude exercise. Take just a book, and I give people an exercise to say, write 100 things. 100. I mean, when you say somebody 100, and Osaye, just in one go, write things that you are appreciative of yourself or other people. You start to see, I'm kicking myself.
Actually, as I was mentioning,
so many things.
As I was mentioning, as your flow of mind. Yeah. And now that you keep telling me about the NPL linguistics,
neuroprogramming linguistics,
but it's exciting. Yeah. It would be unjust. It would be a suicidal mistake, not to mention the birth of Nati. Nati is the biggest thing to have ever happened to my life. He stopped a lot of madness, but I see him grow now. I see he's mad at me now. He's mad at me. I spoke to him 2 weeks ago. He says to me, "No, Dad, you promised me such, you didn't deliver, and you think it's fair, you think it's normal. I'm not in a space that I can talk to you, blah, blah, blah." My dad would have headbutted me saying that to him. But I backed off. And I say this out with such pride that for the first time I started experiencing the consequences of making promises that you don't keep to a child. You know, and this he says when he's 18. So maybe there are moments when it happens when he was small and he got tired of this behavior. So now I'm desperate for that one phone call that he makes and says, "Okay, Dad, can you see me?" Then I will make sure that I keep every promise that I make to him. I'm not suffering inside, Uguti. We are not fighting. My son is angry. My son will be okay because he's my son. Unless I'm time I tell me so words, somebody who's having a new one, but time. No, it's not possible. I'm the father. I'm excited that me not fulfilling a promise has brought out a quality in him that I never knew he had. But that quality makes me a better person. But it's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
No, that's great. And also when I allow him a chance, he must process and then express himself. That's really, really very, very good. And really, like I said, there are a lot of stuff that you do that you did that are good, that benefited somebody.
Thank you.
And you are continuing because currently you coach the under-19. So of Orlando Pirates. What I want to ask, how did the opportunity come about? I'm going to ask you twofold questions. How did the opportunity come about? And maybe we can start with this one. Most of, and I'll say players that we know that have gone through the challenges that you said, some of them, when the drain goes down, they go down with the drain. They never come back. And thanks to that globe that we are still here, because you could have gone with it.
Yeah.
But what in essence, Jomo, gave you this hope to say, no, man, I must pick up myself. Some young man needs this coaching, this advice, this time and energy that I'm going to spend with them.
Yes. I would say the opportunity first of going on off the pitch with TK.
Yeah.
I did that to get 200 by seeing literal because it was bad. It was bad. Then the love that came with that made me want to wake up the next morning and try, because people were saying, no, such and such a broadcaster needs to give him a chance, blah, blah, blah. But now I was not counting on this ukuthi abantu bathi must be given chances where I was buoyed on by what I didn't expect, the love.
Yes.
But no, man. But I decided which nobody cares about me. Nobody wants me. I have nothing. And now I have 300 comments. People all saying, come on, bruh, fight. You are better. So now I didn't even care what I'm going to pay one take. And this is the very same pair I went to sitting with Stan with. And now the set is different from off the pitch. The crew is a lot more, but the figures that are sitting in the crowd of sitting with Stan are very, very influential, important people in our country's football. And when I do the sitting with Stan, I'm not doing it to impress these people, because in my head, I'm nowhere, anywhere impressing these people. They are just running a TV show to get whatever they want and give me what they give people that get invited to the show. But what comes out of that is an invitation to sit down with one person who is at the club, and the intention is to have a meeting and ask for 10 soccer balls and open a free kick academy for myself at a school. But while I'm there, I see it as an opportunity to ask for an opportunity at the club to do analysis, not coaching. But none of the things I came for happened, because I sit down with one of the chairman's sons, who I respect a lot, not because of the opportunity I later had, because of his wisdom, because of how he views life, because of how he treats people in general. And remember, when I was at the club as a player, he was the same age as me. So that means he's still the same age as me. But when I sit and look at him speak, when I sit and look at how he's developed as a soccer administrator and as a person and now as my boss, I stay in it. Ule ngila, not because in his beggar parts, because of he deserves to be where he is in terms of how he structured his life. It is not a mistake, and that person did not even give me the chance to speak. He spoke to me for 55 minutes. I was counting. 5-5. And I'd been given an hour because I was told he has a meeting. The last 5 minutes of that meeting, he stands up, he grabs 10 balls in a bag, he grabs a box of the sneakers that I'm wearing. I fight with my technical director at the club now that this Lamategi now, don't know where this take is here, because we didn't give you these techies. We know they're Adidas, but you didn't get them from us. But no one at the club knows that these are special to me. Because these were given to me by Nkosana Khoza. So I always want to wear these things, to a point where I might even have to face Nkosana Khoza in the disciplinary one day for Guti. You are brought here because Sigupamategi more than 5 pairs, but you are always wearing this one pair. This pair means everything to me. And when he gave me that, he gave me money for cab, and he gave me one simple instruction that when you wake up tomorrow morning, go to Max Park, bazobona bazwenzani ngawe lapho. So I didn't know that was a job. I was confused, I was emotional. I wanted to go home, but still the very same home, the problem labe waloka khona 11 continue to follow me. I don't have anyone to share that success with, the excitement and the joy that I'm feeling at that point. And because isn't have been bad for 5 years, I was in my little bedroom at Latin. I go back into that bedroom, but now the setting is different. The feeling is different. I don't see anything. Being in the bedroom, man. I have got this huge hope, this exciting belief. Yoguti, I have to wake up and go to Max Park kusasa. And like a child that's going to a school trip for the first time, I think I was up at 3:10 a.m.
In anticipation.
I didn't want to be late. I couldn't be late. This was the first job I was getting in 7 years. I've been broke for that long. Broke meaning, yes, I did odd jobs of teaching kids how to kick in private schools.
Yeah.
I coached here and there, but you are getting 350 guy one a month. You are used to 35,000. You are used to 50,000 at Cosmos. You are used to about 600,000 salary fee. You can imagine 350.
Yes, yes.
By the time we get Priest Street, man, you are bus stop, sometimes 40 rand, because you've got so many problems that money you have to pay and all those things that made my life. But they are part of the highlight. Now I've learned a lesson. Life is not a joke. Life is not meant to be serious. You are serious to a point where you can't even buy yourself a packet of chicken and chips because you are scared. But you cannot have packet and chips of chicken every single day. You always need to think, tomorrow it might happen that you don't have. Have you saved a little just to buy a loaf of bread to have you going?
Wow.
But that is how I was employed by the club.
Yes, yes. And really grateful to the opportunity that the club presented, and also for the kids that are benefiting from the knowledge that you are imparting to them. And I guess maybe the excitement was waking up to something meaningful, because if there's nothing meaningful, waking up to life becomes really, really difficult. And I can only really wish you the best going forward, because I didn't say it, but now Paris is my team. Tamalaka and he loves Paris, and the reason why I'm mentioning his career is because there was a time where Honor Kala, especially around the 80s, the double headers.
Okay, let's do this. I think they might fire me for this, but let me take a chance. I think I'm not late at work. I think I'm trying my best with the TV show. So I'll take a chance. Nkosana,
Okay, no, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, no, definitely.
Maybe he'll respond. If he responds, it means you have the new season's jersey coming your way. Hope they don't take it off my salary though.
No, definitely. No, let's hope not. Let's not hope not. No, really, time alaga the linsa really guy got 12 because he wants to go and watch Paris. But you're talking about a team that went through challenges. I remember as a young man watching Paris the late 80s in Erisha Piwa, mare ba ile ba tla bombazo Kamanga ntate ra wina Bob save until where the team is. So exactly.
It's a special club. It's a special club.
No, definitely.
You don't realize when you play for it. When you play for it and you are 22, like I was when I was at the club, you feel entitled. You feel the club owes you. The supporters must worship the ground you walk on. You don't realize that they are the spiritual owners of the club, and it only happens now when you are old, when you are a coach, and you look at the emotion from a distance. You listen to them speak to you when you meet them, whether it's at a liquor store, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's driving or shuttling with a cab to training, and you bump into them. You get a feeling, you get a sense of how special it is for them to be part of this big institution, and you then realize that it has God to be thanked and your ancestors to give gratitude. Not many people get an opportunity to be at this structure, go struggle for over 6 years, and get called back into an amazing environment like this. So I remain forever grateful. And if the kids listen, they can benefit so much. They can avoid so many pitfalls that some of us went through by not listening or doing things right. I'm here, use me, I want to be used, and I am excitedly willing to share every little experience that can make their lives better going forward.
No, that's great, that's great. Jomo, just tell me now that you are in the coaching space, we are about to land this plane now. What is the future holding for you? Are you going to grow into this coaching space, or are there any other things that you are doing to that will cement the type of future that you need?
I want to win the league. I want to win the Premier League because I think it's in line with the people that came before me, the people that gave me opportunities. Pito Msimane being the prime example. We fought a lot, me and him, hardcore. We argued a lot. I bump into him now. When we have a conversation, you think we're fighting. We are not fighting. He throws hands when he speaks. And I'm realizing I see a lot of him in myself now. I hate kids that come late to work. I hate kids that don't respect the sport. And now I understand why the man was so hard on me. But now I also understand why the man is such a big winner. You know, and I want that. I want to experience the mentality, what the space that is in. Look, the money is a must. It will come with the space. You are coaching at the highest level. You are paid big dollars. But I always make this example to the kids I coach. Chance, you want money. There is 50,000 F&B ATMs in the country. So you will always get money. But there aren't 50,000 locker rooms that have your name on them.
That's so
in the Orlando Pirates dressing room.
You
know, how do you get yourself to that space where you can walk into Rand Stadium and say, wow, I've got a locker room that is written Mhlambi, that is written Taka, that is written Haskell, in front of a locker room that is written Lodge, that is written Ratomo, that is written CBC. Those are the things they must be aspiring for. Money, anyway. I walk out of here, I'm sure there's an ATM even in it's a big house. There should be an ATM in your house. So you can get those. But you cannot get a locker room, a Rand Stadium that has your name in that. You get that in your wish list, you achieve that. Trust me, my young brothers that I'm coaching right now, you've achieved so much.
Wow. No, that's great. Let me ask something on the development path as well. When I go back to your story, there was no one who was, in your words, who was telling me this and that. I would like to ask to summarize it by saying you did not have a mentor at that time. So what I would like to ask you now is, now in your coaching space, now that you mentioned Pito, do you have a mentor? And if I mention him, do you sometimes call him in to say, hey, what are the tricks there and there? As a soundboard or any other person, even if it's not Pito, do you have a mentor? Number one. Number two, do you have somebody besides these kids that you are coaching that you are now mentoring one-on-one? One of the players maybe that are up and coming. If not, I'm trying to plant a seed.
Okay. I share a very strong bond with Happy Jelle.
Okay.
Who was a young teammate when I played for the club. I think he had arrived from Mpumalanga. He was 19. I remember I was playing
from
for the national.
Nah?
He had just been spotted from the Coca-Cola something, and he was playing for the national under-20 team. And we've stayed in touch since, even through my hard times. He would still call and ask for advice or how his games were. And he's a proud example of what good behavior does. That's why he holds the all-time record for playing the number of games for the club. And he's a true example, an epitome of what playing for Orlando Pirates should be like. He's still going strong. He's 36, but barely 2 days in you know, whether he is asking for advice. And then there's the young Tutus Shabalala, who's playing for the opposition, who I speak to at least once a week as well, and give a lot of advice, and want to use him as an example. You can stay in the township, you can play for a big club and still be accessible to a regular guy. Not how things were with us, that you feel like you are larger than life. There's them, there's us. No, there's nothing like that. Abantu sonke siyafana, whether uvele TV or omunye akavele TV, and he understands that well. And Yes, I think I would like to think I have a mentor.
Okay.
I just didn't realize until now.
Yeah.
My current technical director,
Yeah. Okay.
and trust me, I'm not buying his face. He's an amazing human being.
Yeah.
When I arrived at the club, I didn't even know that he was a big brother to an ex-teammate of mine who I played with at Cosmos, Papi Mngomezulu. But immediately I found that out. I looked at Impilo Papi and I realized that it's not a mistake that his big brother is Mkolis. He was organized, he was neat, he had a certain way of doing things that made him stand out.
Okay.
You know, and Mkolisi loves life, but Mkolisi loves good human beings. Before he loves good footballers and good coaches, Mkolisi adores good human beings. And he's punched a lot of holes into my personal being. I had so much pent-up anger still when I got to the club that people shortchanged me, people turned against me. None. And immediately I started getting into the groove of being in one space in Mkolisi. I regained my weight. I started smiling a little more. I started wanting to speak to people because when I arrived at Pirates, I wanted to work, go home because I had this mentality of, if I'm late, they'll fire me. I don't socialize with anyone. And remember, there's Joseph Makaya there, who was an ex-teammate. But he's this guy that we will make noise because he loves life as well. But Mkolisi Mngomezulu, I will speak to Mkolisi at 12 at night. I will speak to Mkolisi at 2 if there's things that I don't understand, whether it's about my own personal life or things that are happening at the club. He is always willing to lend an ear. He's always willing to give advice. But Mkolisi is also ready to have a go at me if I'm 5 minutes late, in front of the kids, in front of the other people at the club, the coaching staff. Today even advised Joseph that they need to start donating money. It's a bad trade, sometimes not deliberate. It's something that I really, really need to work hard on aggressively in Daveskat. And Mkolisi Mngomezulu ticks the right boxes. And I hope aspiring coaches like myself get to a level where they do things the way Azenza Akon. He loves his family. He respects Orlando Pirates. He loves his work. He goes out of his way to do extra. And it's just a joy to be around a person like that who doesn't seem tired of helping the next person. So that is what I like about him. And listening to him, you want to sit and listen to him speak the whole day. Again, Mkolisi Mngomezulu.
Wow, no, great. You know, I might sound like a broken record to people but who listen to this podcast. I always say a goal or purpose is never a goal until it impacts other people. You know, and the reason why Nike was like the whole thing about mentoring, I've seen it working in life, whether in corporate or somewhere. I always say this, that apply, and that's the context of my question in closing on it. Apply the 1-2-1 formula. Number 1, number 2, and 1. 1, 2, 1. Which simply means the first one, and I got it from my former mentor, Bona Mohali. That's how I got to know this formula. He said, number 1 is that get somebody that has walked before you so that you learn from them. And then Mkolisi is that person in you. Number 2, get a peer that you share ideas with him. Joseph and Mr. Jelle is that to you. And then get somebody that comes before you. Because when you get somebody coming after you, you teach. And the best way to learn is to teach, you know, so that somebody before you, somebody in your peers, and in that way, I believe that our lives can be changed.
Great.
Now, we say here, Life 101 Conversations for a Great Life. Why Life 101? Basics. Let's not complicate life, Kabatu. On its own is complicated, but if you were to share, you have shared so much, Jomo, you have shared so much, but if you were to look at that camera and say, hey, young boy, you've got talent, yeah? And there's the world waiting for you. And out of my experience, out of whatever that I've said, but there's this one thing that I say, it's a life 101, life 101 advice that I have learned and stick to it. What would you say? I mean, having said whatever, the lot of many things that are powerful that you said, this is the last wish on your deathbed.
He looks young.
Yeah.
Hey, young man.
Yeah.
Out of the many things that I've shared today about my happenings or the happenings of other people that have happened in my life, the one thing that I wish you can master in your journey of going through life and achieving what you are going to achieve as you plan to conquer this world, it's actually really simple. Hloniphi life, it gives you back so much in return.
Hloniphi life, boy. That's
Yeah.
it. Jomo, thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And we believe that your story, and I'm repeating myself, will benefit another person to craft their journey and become the better person.
Yeah, and I hope it also educates
Yeah.
the viewers that let's do away with the culture. You're more sing our bone, you know.
Exactly.
Because I read something in one of my social media comments, somebody saying, but this guy is always advising. No. If you don't want to look at that advice, and by the way, that was not meant for that guy because he's way too old. It's meant for the small ones, his little son, not him, because he's negative. He doesn't want to live anymore. He wants to be like that globe that I pulled down. That's his problem. But he must not disturb the others. So if there are people that will get into a space of watching things and denying their kids an opportunity to learn because they've got their fears,
True, eh? True. And thank you once more for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
What I'm taking out of Jomo's story is this. It is very simple for me. The biggest mistake that any one of us can do in life is not to learn from our own mistakes. And I'll repeat myself. The biggest mistake that we can make in life is to not learn from our own mistakes. No one of us has got a straight line in life. Life has got bumps, it has got curves, it meanders. It goes up and down. But the most important thing is that when we are down, are we able to come up? Problems, mistakes are guaranteed to happen. But the most important thing is, will you stand up? Many people can throw a lot of shade. They can throw a lot of criticism and say, why didn't you work your life? But the reality is, you are also having your own mistakes. And what will really take our lives to a better point and a better conclusion is to become a student of ourselves for the rest of our lives. And if you cannot use his story to become a student of life, I'm guarantee you, your situation will even become worse than his. Not because I wish it upon you, but because it is a reality of life. Until the next episode, I thank you.